No, they were. Some were not very good, some that are old, sure.
Go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. Doyle asked me to go ahead and read the handout that's in the back. There's a one-page handout. If for short copies, we'll get more copies. And that will start the work session. I'm Tina Riley. I'm the clerk of the board. So I'm just here to do the clerking. Obviously, this is the board. Drew is here. Drew, if you want to come up to the table, he is the gentleman that has, will be able to help answer some questions. And with that, and then also there's some agendas coming too. If you didn't get an agenda and want it, they'll be placed on the back table. This is a 30-minute work session. No action can happen here. It's just discussion purposes. And so I'm just gonna read this just to make sure that we're all, all on the same page to start with, and then we'll go from there. The review of the proposal that was presented at the November meeting was the potential business owner would like to offer the current employee of Grant County a position. The potential business owner will be ready to open business on June 1st of 2026. We have some points of clarification for Drew today of the things that were discussed at the November meeting as listed. As far as procuring own supplies, working with the state to provide space for testing, potential business owners willing to notify the county if plans change in the future. We talked about that at the last meeting. Business owner does not expect to receive any equipment from the county. The business owner will work with the state. Potential business owner will work with the state to secure permission to keep an office in Grant County. Review of some of the county's discussion to date is that the courthouse space is for county services. The county is willing to let the state continue to use a conference room for testing if needed. And if there would be a transition to a private business, there would be no financial exchange. How it would work is the county would close a department to allow a business owner to open a business. One of the big points of concern that have come up through conversation is the level of service. So today we're wondering, asking the business owner if he would be willing to share the level of service expectations that it would have for business. And then just some public education points that have come up through the discussion as the License Bureau's services is a state function. The county provides staffing, and that the overall goal of the county has been to just look at the overall levy and looking for ways to decrease it as the county plans for future potential cost shifts. So with that, we'll open it up for the work session discussion for the board.
Hey, if you have a question about this, different scenario, if it would happen to close or whatever, you can address. The guy is willing to take it over. And limit your questions to a couple minutes anyway, because there's quite a few people here, so.
I'd like to give a little background first, if that's okay.
Yep.
So I currently own the Morris County Deputy Registrar's Office. And so I'm kind of in a unique position to be able to share some of the staffing between here and there. And that's one of the reasons I think I can take this over. Currently, under the existing way it's set up, the county's losing about 54,000, 57,000, kind of depends on how you do the math, per year. And part of that reason is I believe it's kind of overstaffed. And I currently have 2 employees at any given time working on mine, and we do significantly, almost twice as much business as what the current one does here in Grant County. So one of the ways I'd like to do that is to reduce the staff. So there'd be 1 full-time employee that would be managing all the time. And then I'd be bringing a second employee up for about half of the time. And then when that employee were to go on vacation or sick or anything like that, I could bring additional staff up to fill in when that is there. So that's kind of the plan that's not included on the sheet that you have in front of you. That's all I wanted to share.
So what happens when there's inclement weather?
Same thing that happens now. We have staff there whenever they can be there. Sometimes they do shut down early.
I guess I don't agree with your reducing your staff like that at all. We use the office a lot, and every time I go in there, there's a lot of times there's people waiting in line. I mean, almost every time. And I don't think and that's the 2 people in there. And I guess I don't I don't agree with, I don't know how one person could handle it, to be honest with you.
Well, I kinda did the math and there's $119,000 in sales. And it works out to about 30 to 32 transactions per day. Take 32 transactions per day and divide it by 8 hours, that's 4 transactions an hour, one every 15 minutes.
But usually the transactions aren't all of the 8 hours.
I understand that, but still, it's not enough to justify, in my opinion, 2 people to be there, especially when you're losing over $50,000 a year.
How can you say they're losing $50,000? Their budget is in the county budget, right? So it's already set for next year. We know that we're gonna be paying our tax burden and our portion is gonna go to that office. How are they losing money?
Because in staffing alone, they pay $170,000 a year with benefits and pensions and everything like that, and they bring in $119,000. So they have a loss of over $50,000 a year.
The newspapers
You're
said
willing to
they-
sacrifice service for saving some money on transactions?
Oh, $50,000, yes.
We're losing service.
You're
You
not
walk
losing
in there
service.
now, there's anywhere from 3 to 5 people in line, with 2 people working to get in. So we're gonna have to drive to Hoffman or Morris and wait longer.
Like I said, it's literally a transaction every 15 minutes on average. Yes, you're gonna have times when it's busy, it'll be at the noon hour, et cetera. And there will be 2 people there about half the time, because I'm planning on bringing up, I've already talked to my staff in Morris about bringing a person up here. So you'd have equivalent of what's called 1.5 FTEs, full-time equivalents to be here. So you're not going to lose what you think you're gonna lose. You're
Is
still.
there rumors that it was gonna be set up in Hoffman because they got an empty building?
I don't know anything about that. No, I've never heard that at all. I was asked by the county college contacted me, asked me if I would be interested. I put together a proposal.
My son-in-law comes from, up by Fargo to come down here to get stuff done. Because it's quicker, faster than waiting in line and making an appointment.
No.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, I grew up in Norman County, so I'd always go to their courthouse and get it, and then 25 years ago, I moved up Clay County, which is north of Moorhead. And then you go in there and you grab the number and you sit for an hour and a half.
Yep.
All the people that work there are so grumpy, you can't talk to them because they're.
I just think that the county here, the board, and they can provide some service here for all the money that we spend. And, you know, and you got older people here that it's such an accessible deal for them to just to go and go right here. And look at all the farmers, they got all their trucks and licenses and everything else. They're gonna have to travel some other place to get all that stuff. And bring all that stuff with them, all the papers and stuff. Bull.
Generally, what people do when they have large numbers of trailers or semis and things like that is they drop them off. Same thing with car dealerships.
No,
They
we
drop them
don't,
off.
no, we
That's-
don't.
that's what-
Yeah, but no.
I think you're.
Maybe if the county wants to save some money, maybe we should take a look at what's going on in this building and who's getting it.
Yeah.
I
Maybe.
just wanna mention, I represent Hoffman, District 3, there's been no discussion that I'm aware of that moving to Hoffman as their representative.
Where would it move to?
And how come this hasn't been given to other people a chance to do what he's doing? How come you haven't put it out for other people, put an ad in the paper?
I don't even know.
Nobody has ever come and asked for it.
Just 1 minute, everybody, we have everybody talking. Go ahead, Troy.
Nobody's ever come and asked. It's not a mandated service that the county needs to provide. We have an individual who's come, wants to expand his business, and apparently we're against private business. We would rather have the county do this than the public. I don't understand that.
For once, you're right, because we're for guaranteed service. We're guaranteeing that it's gonna be here, we're guaranteeing that it's not gonna leave. My question to the board is you have all kinds of departments that are services, so how many of the other departments, if this is all about money, also lose money? I would guess there's a bunch, because county government, just like city government, provides services, and most of those services are at a loss. That's why we collect tax revenue.
Which
And-
ones of those are mandated and which ones are not?
I just like that,
That's no different than if one of the small businesses in Alton Lake couldn't make it work. That's not guaranteed that, let's be honest, that's not guaranteed that any small business could stay afloat in Grant County.
if we don't support it. If we don't support this man and his effort to keep the service in Grant County, then of course it won't go. I mean, it's just like utilizing services at Haley's, utilizing services at, I'm just looking, Red River, utilizing services at any other business. If we don't support it, we don't have it, but it's also a situation, change is inevitable. If everybody looks at what's going around in the county, in the state, at any level of government, change is coming, people, whether you like it or not. And I'm not saying that it has to here, but it's a situation, I think what Troy said with the mandated services, this is a portion that could be changed. But there's a solution because Drew has come with a proposal because he wants to start a business in Grant County, which I think everybody should kind of take a moment to say, wow, there's a person who wants to start a business in Grant County. That's pretty significant.
When you're proposing overstaffed and you're making it sound there's the availability at all times to have someone down there, are you already overstaffed? And that's not selling me to say that you'll always have someone ready to be here.
So I have 2 full-time people and 2 part-time people, and those part-time people are willing to come here when needed.
And who pays the wages?
Me,
And you're still making money,
yes.
and all you're doing is the plates?
Well,
eggs and stuff?
we do the DNR, which is the, you know, your boat, snowmobile, ATV stuff. We do the driver's licenses, we do passport photos, and we do all the driver's licenses.
You don't, okay, and you still make money on that?
We do, the biggest difference is the wages. When you start to include things like a para pension and health benefits, it does make it much more affordable to be able to do it that way, and then having to reduce the staff. That's how it has to be done. The majority of small towns, the deputy registrar's offices, which is what they're called, are privately held. It's usually in the bigger cities where the cities and counties own them.
So what if you earned $1 a plate for everything that came in there?
It's $9 for a transaction like that, yes.
Well, that's what it is.
Who's covering for the expense of transportation from Morris up to Elbow Lake, because that's gotta be included in the expenses.
I'd just like to mention something from Ken's standpoint. Whenever there's change, natural attrition, in this case, a retirement, it also offers an opportunity. And I think back, and I remember I was on the Hoffman City Council, and if I would have thought that every city in Grant County would have not have a police department, and we'd have a joint effort with the county law enforcement, I'd have said, I just can't see it. If I would have thought that Horizon Public Health could offer public health services to 5 counties more efficiently, a lot of people might have said, like, we can't. If I'd have said that 3 counties could offer social services through Western Prairie, we might have said, I don't know. The point is, it's an opportunity that I think behooves us to look at, because that's, I think, okay leadership. There, go ahead, Jonathan.
You had mentioned the Drew. You're gonna be DNR licensing and all that stuff for.
I used to work in the DNR licensing department.
Has that been approved by the state?
So when I'm talking about
What
licensing,
in the past was, you have to be, we have 2 places right now. In the county.
we're talking about 2 different things. You're talking about hunting and fishing licenses. I'm talking about boat, snowmobile, and ATV licenses and
That's already being done.
Right.
So,
I actually worked on the project that converted all the licenses over to the hunting and fishing licenses that are electronic now. So I'm very familiar with that, and I hope to be able to do that as well.
so you mentioned passports.
Passport photos, not passports.
Okay. Make that clear. So what's gonna happen with Mary then? You offer for the current employee position?
I can't speak to that right now. I plan on offering it to the, as I understand it, one person is retiring and one is staying.
Right.
My goal would be to offer employment to the one who is staying. I don't know if she will accept it or not. I haven't had any real conversations about that.
I mean, that should be brought to the table, because if she's gonna be taking a huge cut. I mean, for health insurance, you have all that stuff, and no rotation.
We do not at this time, no.
So I got a question. So you're saying the county loses money as present month,
And you make money, how are you making money on it?
Because I'm not gonna have two full-time people there.
So just like, so you sound stable, but you reduce your staff,
Correct,
and that's how you make money.
correct.
Reducing service.
So there goes our service right there. Yeah, I guarantee you, we'll be waiting in line an hour and a half to get a license.
I guarantee you won't.
We're waiting in line now.
We're waiting in line now.
I understand that there are a lot of times when someone comes in to renew their driver's license or significant, that they need to get additional information from other parts in the courthouse. An example might be a title that is not there, whatever. And the people there have been very helpful at providing that service and getting them what they needed. Now, I don't know if any of you have experienced that. I have not personally, but that is a big thing that would take a lot of time for your employees to make that happen.
Well, I've had questions where I wanted to check on the legality of licensing a truck at the right weight or whatever. And I can go right over to the sheriff's office and they can tell me. Right there.
Is the state of Minnesota on board with this as far as moving the office out of there if they don't have it there? Is there anything that says that the state will say, no, it's not gonna be there? You go to Fergus, Morris or Alec, rather than let them, the state can say, yeah, we'll just let somebody else have it.
The state would
Is
not
there
want,
anything on that?
the state would not want it to close,
Well,
and I don't think. there'd
I'm
be-
not asking that, I'm asking if they're okay with it. That if it's not there, then they're gonna say, if it's not there, then it's not gonna be here, it's gonna be Fergus, Morris or Alec.
You mean the state wanting to move it or me?
And if the county says we're not gonna have it here no more. Then the state comes in, takes all the stuff, their property, state owns this, I assume, the tags and all that.
The tags, yes, the
Yes, they
license
come in and
plate.
take their stuff out and said, okay, that's it, we're not gonna set it up somewhere else, does the state have that authority? I mean, who's to say that? You know, you can just move this stuff somewhere, the state could say, this is it, you're gonna go to Fergus, Morris or Alec if you're not gonna be here.
When I purchased the one in Morris, it was a matter of literally filling out a bunch of forms, going through background checks, et cetera, a lot of paperwork to make it happen, but there was no talk whatsoever about the state coming in and saying.
How long ago was that?
June.
That was in private.
That was private then,
It was.
private then, or?
So I'm willing to come in here in Grant County and do it for $100 a month.
Do what?
Do what you're doing.
Oh,
I got so much money, I can just get rid of it and I don't care.
I got
What's to stop me?
I got a question. How many transactions goes through every year? How many? How many transactions are there?
Well, we got the department head in the room in the corner there. Would you like to touch on that, Don?
Yeah, how many transactions?
I'm just here to listen.
Okay.
Do you want to go by the year or the state fiscal year?
Year.
Cause the state fiscal year is from July 1st to June 30th. That's what my transaction count goes by, not by January to December.
And how many transactions are there?
For last year, I did, if I can remember correctly, I didn't bring any paperwork because I wasn't prepared to speak. I have it in my office. I did over $15,000 or 15,000 transactions between July 1st and June 30th last year.
Well,
So you said how much we're losing there each year now? How much are we gonna lose with you doing
it won't cost you anything.
Cost me time.
I'm sorry, am I missing something here? We're talking about Drew, I thought we were talking about the county pulling it from the courthouse.
Yeah.
And another question, will you be offering behind the wheel testing?
That's through the state, so that has nothing to do with the debt, that's a separate entity, but that would stay the same.
I think where focus should be not about Drew. I thank him for being a private businessman and operating there. I think our question should be, why is it leaving there? If that's the case, why don't we look at all the rest of the departments and what it's costing per employee there? If we're gonna start scrutinizing this one here.
Start with the county commissioners.
As a taxpayer, I like it the way it is. I don't think we're losing money. I think the money is well spent for very good customer service. I think that customer service will continue. I think our county commissioners are able to hold that department and all departments accountable to the taxpayers. And I'm willing to pay what I currently pay and more to have that in the courthouse. And I think a lot of your constituents think the same. I'm not saying all of them, but I think you wanna use your time, go down to the state and spend your time there and get some more of our money back to the county.
How much goes to that? What, 7%, right, of our taxes?
I don't
Our
know.
tax money goes to it?
Whatever it is right now, I'm okay
10%.
with it. Whatever it is, okay, right now, I'm okay with it because we're getting good customer service. Our young people, our old people, our young people gotta change their driver's licenses 3 times between the time they get it and the time they turn 21 years old. And they need advice and when they're buying new cars and trailers and things like that. And our current staff, and I'm sure the staff moving forward, they do a heck of a job helping these folks navigate those situations. And then when you get into our elderly community, they need the same help and they're getting it. So there's no reason to change anything. We're doing a good job. Our tax money is being spent wisely in that department as far as I'm concerned, and that's the way it should stay.
I agree with Darren.
100%.
I think,
I agree, yeah.
What is it, $2-3, Billy?
$3?
About 3 to 5.
yeah, $3 or anything.
You can spill that.
Well, otherwise you guys could increase it to $1 or $2.
That's, you're just counting Grant County residents. What about the ones that come from Douglas County, Ottertail County?
Not because that's.
Independent county.
A lot of
I get
outsiders.
it. Yeah, I get it. You got a lot of regional traffic. There's a lot of regional traffic that comes to this office up there. And I don't believe that you can staff that office with one person. You guys are working through your breaks and your lunch hours and
They gotta have some.
so you know something to tell you, there's one person can't handle it. There's no way. So in my opinion, you know, if you have something that's working like it is. And we were, you know, say we were struggling to try to keep it open and staffing, which is not the case here. So that's where I'm at. I mean, if we were struggling to keep it open and things like that, I would go the other direction and we would revisit this thing. And I've talked to county commissioners down to Stevens and Douglas, okay? And Stevens tells me, do not leave, don't let that go. You keep it because then you have local control and hours of operation.
I would like to know the name of those commissioners you talked to because that is not the story I got.
Commissioner Johnson, you can wait your turn. So what Douglas County had it at private and they turned it back to public because it wasn't performing over there. So in my opinion, you know something, these guys have the flavor of the crowd and the people and the levels of operation and things like that has to be actually met. So people are served and we have that now. There's no reason for change.
What percentage is $54,000 of the whole budget?
I got something to say too. So, okay, so like 25, 30 years ago, the state came in here and they were gonna take our license bureau, at least the driver's ed portion of it. And they wanted to discontinue it in this county. So I went down and got the businessmen and we had about the same amount of people here up in the courthouse. And that guy, we got his attention and then they left it. Okay, so, you know, yeah, we're probably in the deficit a little bit with that deal there, but you gotta look at what that brings into the town. Or into the county. They're coming from all over the place. I was sheriff, I sat there for years watching that lineup out there. And for the most part, it was positive comments coming out of there as far as the level of service. So, you know, I got concerned because, yeah, I'm sure this gentleman's a decent guy. He's probably well intended, I'm sure he is. But what if he decides to sell this thing? Then what are we gonna do? Do we take it back? Can we get it back? You know, I don't know, you know.
Why isn't it put up for bid?
Because we have no control over that. The state, it must be a state. They don't come to us to ask to get into that. That's through the state, I'm sure. Is that right?
I was approached by people within the county, I'm not gonna say who, but to come up here and make.
No, but I mean, if other people wanted to get into this like you do,
is there a process that's gotta go through the state, doesn't it?
The approval process of whoever would be selected by you would be approved. They have to go through background checks, et cetera. But the state would have no say in who you would decide to go forward.
Okay, well, that's, but anyway, I'm concerned about, we gotta keep that level of service there. We gotta keep that traffic coming into this county. And I don't want to lose any of that because it's very important to this county. They're not just buying licenses up there, they're spending money.
That's right.
Amen. So, I'm with that one. I'm for
Chair?
keeping it here. And, that's how I'm gonna.
I've been up there and there's been people from down by St. Cloud, even Minneapolis, up here to take a driver's test to get a license.
They do it all the time.
And you can't tell me they aren't stopping in town here at the restaurant and everything else, or buying gas or whatever when they're here.
That's a different thing though. That's the license testing.
For
That's
me,
that's not what I'm doing.
even county and.
That would continue the way it
Mr.
is.
Chair, may I have a moment?
You gotta make an appointment down there to have a test here, you.
Correct, but I have nothing to do with any of that. That's a separate thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I have no doubt if we go and close down the license bureau so a private business can come into Grant County and pay taxes, that if he were to close down, there's plenty of votes on the board to start a license bureau back up. I have no doubt about that at all. I just don't know why we would be against a private business coming. All we'd be doing is closing down. And if he can't make it, we start back up.
Okay, I got a question for you. What would the cost be to that restart it? Say if it happened, how
What
much
was that?
Retake over that, bring in all the equipment and do everything else?
I think it's worth the chance to have a private business.
I'd like to mention one more thing, and we've talked about the numbers, and our projected 2026 budget is about $58,000 cost. But I think more important is we gotta make sure that Don and Mary work really hard. And yeah, we're talking about a private business and we're talking about the numbers, but they've done a really good job. And
Oh, yeah,
Don's
definitely.
in the room, and we gotta make sure that they know that we appreciate what they've done, and I think that's really important.
And they're really friendly.
Yes.
They're really friendly.
How many plates and how many tabs go through there? I would pay $1 for each one, each that instead of. Would that be a lot of money?
Look like you're addressing me. I can't answer your question, so help me out there, or Don.
Okay, if I paid $1 to get a new tab or a plate, and F $1, you give them $1 on each one, how much money would we come up with? Anybody know that? How many plates, how many tabs go through?
I can't say tabs, but she said there was 15,000 transactions, so that would be $15,000.
Just type transaction, but how about you buying 10? That's one transaction. I'm wondering how many plates. So if I was a farmer and I had 10 plates or 20 plates, I would give them $1 just to be here on each one.
What I'm saying, I can't answer your question, but what I can tell you is that she said she did 15,000 transactions, right?
That transaction.
Right,
that
total
includes
transactions, everything.
Yes.
You had $1, that would be.
A plate at a time or a tab at a time.
I can't answer that. What I can say though is if the total transactions were 15,000 and you were willing to give $1 for each one of the total transactions, that would only total $15,000. If you gave $4 for every transaction, you would cover the cost.
What's your fee?
It's $9 for a tab and it's $13 for a title transfer.
Is that currently what we're at right now?
No.
That's what you get now. Everybody, whoever does this anywhere in the state, that's what they get for doing the transaction.
And how many
That's-
transactions did you do last year with the staff that you have there?
I don't have transactions, I have total dollar numbers, so I have to look that up for you, I'm sorry.
You, comment, you may be missing something in your analysis. If you're in the Morris area, I'm sure there's a lot of people come in with one title. You know, we're in an ag community here. When, for example, when I come in, I may have 10 or 12 or whatever. So the workload is really bunched. It's kind of like harvest time.
Yeah.
You know, and so when if a number of people come in, because that's the way I get them in the mail from the state.
Probably just got it, yeah.
Okay, so when a number of us come in, I mean, I have seen the line where there's been 8, 9 guys standing in line. Because we're all bunched, so when you analyze your numbers and average it, say so much per day, I think that's pretty inaccurate.
Actually, I addressed that earlier. Most of the people that bring in the large stacks like that.
No, that we don't.
No,
That's
that's
where you're
what
wrong.
I'm trying to tell you. That's what we do is most of the time they just drop off. We also have dealerships, so the dealerships drop off their stuff. We have Superior, which is a large company that does a lot of transactions for trailers. They drop them off, so we don't make people wait in line. We will bring it back, we will even deliver them out to them in some cases.
Well, I can only speak for myself, but at times when I trade vehicles, I have questions.
Yeah.
And that's where I need to talk to the person. I can't drop them off and say, I'll be back later. Otherwise, I'd be on the phone later. And
Yeah.
that's not the way, we prefer to do it.
Those are
So-
two different scenarios though. Those are one where you're saying what's gonna do a bunch of tabs and one where you have a bunch of questions. Two different scenarios. If you just have tabs that you want to be done, it's a larger number. We do not want to hold up the other people behind you. Even if you've got 2 people working there, you would drop those off and we would either deliver them back out to you or you pick them up at a later date. They come in sometimes, we get stacks, like stacks. And there's no way that we could hold up the people behind to go through all those transactions. I say stacks, I'm talking like 100.
We need to support our farmers and our truckers. This is an agricultural community.
So is Morris.
And service has been here ever since DMV has been in the courthouse. I vote it should stay there.
So Troy's statement saying that if this were to happen, the county, it goes to you. And then you end up selling it. I mean, basically the county has no control over official business. Is that correct? Because that's not what Troy said. Troy said the county can get another business. I mean, the county's out of it, the state's gonna take care of the private business. So, is that correct?
No.
Okay.
So there's a couple things that can be done. There can be contingencies put in there. For example, we could put a contingency that says, I can't sell it for 10 years. Or that the county would have first right of refusal. Or there's lots of things that can be put into a document to ensure that things like that would not happen. We haven't talked about that, but those are things that could be done.
One thing that I think the county's only decision is whether you have it or not. Once you say you don't have it anymore, you have zero control over whether it's him or somebody else.
Unless there's a legal agreement in place.
One thing that hasn't come up here is location. Now, this setting that you're talking about, putting this business in, is it all handicapped accessible? So actually you can get in and get out and, it's all set up like that?
So I looked at a couple of the places in downtown that are up for rent, and that's as far as I've gotten because I didn't know where this was gonna go. So I haven't gotten any farther than that.
See, that's a big one, because we have 6,000 people in the county, 3,000 are 65 years and older. They're an elderly community setting. They plan, they budget to buy their tabs. Buy it, they don't wanna go, and they don't wanna send a check down to the state. They just wanna walk in, buy it, and go stick it on in the parking lot. But that 3,000 people have to be served. And you gotta have handicap accessible for probably a third of them. Right? The accessibility is huge, and we have that up there. And I question whether there's a setting around that gives that level of care and service.
The state wouldn't force you to have handicap accessibility. They come out and do inspections just for that. There are quite a few businesses that have closed because they've been unable to accommodate that. That was, I forget what the act is called, but they enforce that. They make it so you have to have a handicap accessible.
I still don't think we're losing money. I don't think we're losing money. We're getting great value for our service in that department. So if you can't just go by dollars and cents, because what value do you put on the customer service that we're currently getting and that our residents plus the ones, like she's saying, that come in, which I know our safety guy comes here to get his licenses because he likes the service. And he comes from Holly. So the value for the dollar is very high in this department. So the communication about the $50,000, I don't even think, to me, as a taxpayer, it doesn't even exist because it's one of the departments that we're getting the best value for our dollar in Grant County.
We've heard from those two and Troy, but we haven't heard too much from you.
What would
And putting you on the spot as the county commissioner, what's your opinion?
Well, the only reason that we're doing this was because of the loss of the thing. There's been no decisions made. There won't be no decision made today because
Well, I understand that, but I just wanna know what your opinion is.
I don't care one way or the other because I go here and
You don't care about the people of Grant County?
I care about the people in Grant County, but I'm only one person.
Well, you're one person on that board.
You're one person on the
What-
board.
what-
What would it
You're
cost,
on the board, you look like the head honcho to me.
what would it cost an individual in time and gas to go somewhere else? Are you taking that into account too, how much it costs each individual and how many people are doing it? That's a lot of money spent going somewhere else in gas and time, than some of the people that can't do it.
I don't think we've, but I know I haven't ever considered not having it available. Once again, I talked about change and opportunity. And so I don't think that's one of the boxes we're thinking about checking is not having the service. It's looking at the opportunity.
Can I say one thing?
Sure.
I only want what's best for Grant County and for my office. But everybody in this office and everybody that are in this building, this room right now, and everybody that walks into my office is not just a number. They're like family to me.
Right.
They come in for help and advice, and that's what I give them. They're not a number to stand out in the hallway. That's my feelings in all of this. But all I want is what is best for Grant County and best for my office. And if you guys think giving it up back to the state, that's your decision. I have nothing to say about it. It's out of my control. It's up to you guys. But these aren't people. They're not numbers. They're family to me. They always will be.
I don't know if I can just say anything and hear what's going on. Right now, the board here has control of it. So on an offhand, not that this is anything that's going on now, but we did have a discrepancy with the office. The people in the public actually have you guys come to and voice those concerns. Now, as a private business owner, and I'm not throwing shade on you, sir, but as a private business owner, they can just shrug that off and say, hey, this is what we're doing. There's real no voice of the people anymore. You're just a customer, you're a number.
That's right.
Whereas if right now, if something was going sideways up there now, we could come to a county commissioner meeting, say, hey, what's going on with the DMV? And actually have a course of action to take care of it as a voice of the people and not a private business owner.
Could I just ask a clarifying question? Drew, you said that someone comes in, they get tapped, they have to pay $9 plus their tap fee, or their regular, right? And 13 for a title.
Correct.
When we come into the office up at the courthouse, what do we pay?
It's just what's on the ticket.
It's exactly the same.
What's on the table?
It's mandated, but
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
90% of the money that's collected goes to the state approximately, it's not an exact number, but approximately 90% of it goes to the state, and the other is the transactional fee, which is kept by either Grant County, Morris, whoever happens to do it. It's all the same.
can that number increase? I mean, can you say, I mean, even like in the office now, it's set in law, it cannot be raised. They couldn't say, let's add $1 per parcel or per unit
I don't believe
as
so.
a fee.
Yeah, the only fee that there is that can be increased is for if you use a credit card, there's a transaction fee for credit cards. And that actually, just so you know, 100% of that money goes to the state. None of that money is kept by any of the deputy registrar's office.
If I can clarify that, we have not done a wheelers tax in this county or a 0.5% sales tax. So that would be additional if we have done a wheelers tax and we have not done that.
Right, that wouldn't be based on that would be a different way of going about
But
it.
it's an additional cost.
I have one more question about, to Drew or whoever wants to answer. With regards to staffing, how would Grant County, well, kind of to the group, with the paid leave situation that's gonna be happening here come 2026, how is Grant County or how would Drew handle if someone was out? And what kind of flexibility can you offer
Yeah.
for paid leave that maybe Grant County couldn't?
Just the way that works, first of all, is that employees pay 0.5%. And then the employers pay 1.5%. And just, I think that's the starting fee. I think we're gonna see that number go way up in the next few years. But having said that, I have 4 employees. I have the ability to bring up people and fill in when people are not going to be here. Puts me in a unique position I don't think anybody else around here could possibly do. And you talk about service, you don't know what's gonna happen here either. You could have two people call and say, you could have somebody go out and leave like that, then what happens when the other person wants to go on vacation, things like that? Your service could go down, I'm not saying it is. There's a scenario where it could, you just brought up the perfect example, somebody goes out for 12 weeks and then another 8 weeks, they're out for 20 weeks. You've got one employee here, what does that employee have to work every day, every hour, every minute? And then they're gonna do it by themselves? I've got 4 people, potentially 5, potentially 6 that we're gonna do, and there's expansion plans, which I'm not gonna get into. But I'm in a unique position to be able to actually provide better service, and this idea that everyone's gonna become a number, no, it's gonna be the same. You're gonna have a person that works in the community, that lives in the community, that's gonna be servicing the community. That's not gonna change just because it's gonna go from a public employee to a private employee. And the people that come into our office, we've got donuts, we've got cookies, people sit around and talk. It's the same kind of atmosphere.
Because currently, is there anyone in Grant County that can do what the ladies do right now to fill in currently? Don't know. So right now, today, if they were both sick or somebody got hurt or whatever, we would have no service, correct?
Well, I think that they could get somebody from a different department to come in and help out.
It's
You gotta
not
take a
that
background
huge,
check to be certified, so no.
obviously. So I mean, this is something that we really need to think about for the future because the workforce is changing, the people are changing. I mean, this is not, if it, that has to be considered when we discuss this topic.
The hurt that it's gonna do in the community, just on my end alone, before I came here, I looked at how much I spend with the DMV in Grant County each year, and it was a little over $13,000 annually. I can't afford to leave you a stack of crap that I gotta come back and write a check out for all in one, so I'm in and out of town throughout the season, getting tabs for units that.
You don't have to do that, I'm just saying that's how we
No, I realize
realize the quantities.
I realize that,
Yeah.
I'm saying my inefficiency of not doing everything at once, I come to town each and every time that I need that. And I'm not just stopping, like they're saying, I'm not just stopping at the DMV and going home.
Why would that
Yes.
change? I'm just asking, why would that change if he's got a downtown business?
I'm
Why would
more
that
in
change,
support,
Jesse?
I'm in the support of this great county.
It
And
was
we're
really.
little by little getting rid of that county feeling.
It's not a mandated service. Does everybody understand that?
We
It's not
realize that, we
mandated?
realize that. We have something very special here, a DMV.
We
That's
still have a
ran by the
DMV.
county. Huh?
We still have a DMV. That's what I don't understand.
They can pick up and leave whenever.
Our voice won't matter.
Put a contingency in there.
Nobody's gonna come and
You
tell me
think
how to
the
run
voice
my
doesn't
business.
matter, there'd be a business, I mean, the business, he needs to be successful, just like your business, just like Dr. Lisa's business, just like Kastner's business, just like Bob Gerken's business. If we aren't successful by working together, none of us are successful.
Yeah,
You guys are being so narrow-minded.
Well-
I've seen such narrow-mindedness, oh my gosh.
We're already 14 minutes past, so we're gonna have to wrap this up.
Where do we leave it?
So, Mr. Chair, if I can entertain, ask the group who wants to privatize and have a show of hands. You do that?
I think we should have a vote for the people of
Let's see a
Grant
show of
County.
hands that wanna privatize. You guys gotta take your hands out of your pockets if you're gonna raise it.
In other words, no one wants it privatized.
Show of hands who wants to privatize.
I'm not opposed to it, but I'm not really voting either way, because I just want a DMV in town, and I don't wanna risk the state shutting it down and having nothing.
Right.
There's gotta be some other ideas, like, I think we've heard one idea, are there other ideas on how to reduce the 54,000?
Okay.
Add another dollar.
9:15, and we have other people on the agenda that have made time to get here, and we're already pushing them way back. And this was scheduled for 30 minutes today as a work session, just for discussion, so actually no action can happen, and we can do another work session. But I think in respect to the people that are waiting, who are on the agenda, for a specific time, to have other jobs to get back to, I think we, like Doyle said, it's 9:15, we're already 15 minutes behind, and so. I know, but
It's kinda like a doctor's office, when you go in and get checked, like,
I wanna
they
respect.
take and wait like we wait.
Okay, let's see a show of hands. who wants to keep it in the Courthouse.
Yeah, okay.
Here's the hand, I'll collect $3 from everybody and set up another discussion time.
Add another dollar or two to it.
Set up another.
Thank you for coming, appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're making.
Yeah, are you narrow minded? Since you call it ground stuff.
Next time, have it at the end.
You should have said what State said too. You know what he said, keep it.
I got Bobby.
This is obviously. Yes. I'm going to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris carries it physically. Sick of my husband. He needs to go. You must be really sick of my you're gonna be,
So we're not. You know, I appreciate it. And that's been a lot. Then I will do it. Did that. My mom will bring back her when I go out for it and.
Well, you know.
Yeah, no, I think this.
Yeah.
United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have, the agenda, and there's, the minutes from the truth and taxation hearing last night. We'll add them to the agenda. Is there anything else? Yeah.
No.
Okay, all. With that added to the agenda, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second,
Second.
okay, being Troy is on, Zoom today, we have to do everything has to be done a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion? Signify by saying aye. Ken?
Aye.
Aye. Dwight?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Oh, we get a choice.
Troy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, meeting minutes? Or sent out?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Have a motion to be the second?
I'll second it.
All in favor of the motion? Ken?
Aye.
Aye. Dwight?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Troy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, the warrants were sent out.
TNT rules.
Okay, the truth and, taxation minutes.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair, for December 15th, the truth and taxation.
I'll second it, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any discussion? All in favor? Ken?
Aye.
Doyle, aye. Dwight?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Troy?
I'm abstaining. I wasn't there.
Okay. Motion carried. Now the warrants.
Approve the warrants.
The motion to be the second.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on any of the bills? All in favor? Ken?
Aye.
Doyle, aye. Dwight?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Troy?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, Commissioner Johnson, Ken?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I would ask to, from the December 2nd meeting, to reduce the levy request for HRA from 200,000 to 100,000 pending, review of their budget today.
Do I have any
Objection to that?
objection to that?
If you're withdrawing your motion, I'll second that.
Okay, Ken?
Aye.
Doyle, aye. Dwight?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Troy?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, Mr. HRA, who's gonna? Have you got some more, Ken, or?
Well, I think if we go back to the last meeting, was discussion and reference to some input from community members and a data request, and also it gravitated to looking at statute, which it appears in statute that we're supposed to review, when we're levying dollars, to review an entity's budget. And so, I've communicated with Mr. Standish, and, I'm assuming that he probably has something for us, so I've asked Jim if he'd like to come forward and prevent.
I was hoping there was donuts in that class. They're in 2 months. So it's just. This isn't the sheriff's. Getting hungry.
And definitely, if I was here. Well, my comments.
Here, good night, Chair.
I'll leave it on there.
Okay.
I'll, leave them here. Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for inviting, myself and the Grant County HRA to discuss the HRA and the request for the levy. Just as a premise, the top blue sheet, I just wanted to give you a brief background that the HRA was created in 1972 by the Grant County Board of Commissioners, determining that there was a need for a HRA to look at the needs of the county for housing. Just to be clear, the Grant County HRA is certified to operate by the state of Minnesota and operates as a separate entity in accordance with Minnesota statutes. Why I think this is important, I think there's been some thought or confusion or discussion out there that the HRA is a department or a committee of the county board. It is not. It's a separate entity unto its own by Minnesota statute, and that's how it operates. We can borrow money, accept loans, grants, gifts. The one thing is the HRA is a fiscal component of the government of the Grant County, and the reason for that is that the county board appoints the HRA commissioners, and reason number 2 is that a few years back, the Grant County Board of Commissioners issued a geo obligation bond for the HRA to develop some housing in the county. And because of those 2 reasons, that's why we are a fiscal component of the government. But importantly, that's for clarification that we are a standalone entity in the county. You want to turn to the letter. Dear Mr. Spear, thank you for the invitation to the Grant County Board of Commissioners meeting December 16th, 2025 concerning the 2026 Grant County HRA levy request. While the Grant County HRA acknowledges Minnesota statute 469.003 subdivision 6, which states the HRA file a budget with the county in the same manner as required of executive departments of the county, or if no budgets are required to be filed by August 1st. The HRA has requested and been approved a levy since 1997, and the county has not required a budget to be filed previously. The Grant County HRA does not have a consolidated agency-wide budget. The Grant County HRA has multiple projects and programs, budgets of which funds cannot be commingled to be shared on a random basis. The funds are dedicated to each project and or program. Each program has strict rules regarding the use of the funds. I have attached the 2026 project program budget for the following. And these are our major projects and programs of the HRA. We have other minor ones, but these are the major ones. Public housing, Section 8, housing choice, voucher, rent assistance, market rate project, and it's a 2025 to 2026 has not been approved, subject to rent increases January 1. Ashby Apartments HRA 1, Ashby Apartments HRA 2. I have been with the Grant County HRA since the inception in 1972, and I'm not aware that the HRA is required to have an agency-wide budget. The 2020 county levy request, $200,000, represents 37% of the maximum allowed by Minnesota statute, or $547,121.66. Also, I have attached the most recent HRA audit, 2024, excerpts of assets and revenues and expenses, which representative of a complete financial picture of all the HRA project and program activities. I would like to address the impact of the Grant County HRA and the county, both housing and program activities. Grant County HRA owns 20 buildings, which are 114 rental units. The approximate value of these properties is $16,800,000. We potentially house 114 families and provide housing assistance for another 24 families, bringing a total to 138 families. Each year, over $90,000 is paid out to Grant County landlords for rent assistance to help families with their rent. Also, each year, we pay approximately a total of $28,000 from all our properties for payment in lieu of taxes. In 2024, the HRA, Grant County HRA, paid out to contractors, vendors, a total of over $161,000. The HRA pays cities thousands of dollars for utilities. The cost of operation in the HRA office is approximately $30,000 per year. That's about what it was in 2025. The HRA owned properties, non-HUD, 26 units, 6 buildings are aging, which are 25 years to 40 years old. They are requiring more and more maintenance. The types of maintenance include roofs, siding, windows, and so on. Also, there's a consistent need for replacement of items such as refrigerators, rangers, water heaters, water softeners, air conditioners, some pumps, general refrigerators, washers and dryers. This would be related to Ashby Apartments 1. Also, there has been extreme rise in insurance premiums for all our properties. Other uses of levy funds are employee wages and benefits, represents about 20% of the total, or $50,000 a year. The remaining is paid for by federal funds, or 80%. In 2025, the Grant County HRA, as an applicant on behalf of the Grant County, through the partnership of Minnesota Housing and area lenders, there were 7 first-time home buyers that were purchased in Grant County for a total of $932,571 in loans. That particular program, there is no county levy money or money. We just applied for that money, so it's dedicated to Grant County. Since Grant County is the largest landlord in the county, we have a major impact on housing families and financial support to contractors, cities, and vendors. I'd like to add that we are also, Grant County is also in need of additional housing. We know this through waiting lists on our apartments, and we are looking into the possibility of developing more housing into the future. With that, I'll leave it open to questions. If you would like to go through each one of these budgets individually, be more happy to do that. That's up to you.
I got a question, Mr. Standish. Your response to the data request referenced the need to move the levy up to $200,000. 4 of the items was remodeling the HRA current office. Furniture and miscellaneous expenses associated with the remodel of the new office, maintaining their new office. And new storage, $100,000. And I guess my question is, the other 3 items were normal business expense, insurance, utilities, and so on and so forth. My question is, how does that, because it appears most of that is completed, how does that extrapolate into 2026 when you're asking for 200 again?
Well, first of all, we're not asking for an increase, same as 2025. We are, again, we're seeing increase in cost of insurance premiums, the cost of maintenance. Basically, we do not have a dedicated reserve for replacement of equipment. We don't have a dedicated reserve for maintenance of buildings. So that's something that we would need to look at as far as having something as a reserve for those items. I mean, quite honestly, it costs a lot of money to maintain these buildings. You know, they're aging, and each year it's costing more and more to operate and maintain them.
So I reference page 22 of your 2024 annual statement under cash and investments that unrestricted cash on deposit investments and CDs of $1,355,781. I understand it costs a lot of money. It appears, according to your annual statement, that you may have a lot of money. So would you compare that to in your comment?
Certainly. If you look at that, I believe I don't have that page open. But if it's the referencing the audit statement, if you look, it's broken down to multiple projects and programs. And if you take the very first one, I think it's in the first column, it's public housing. And at the bottom of that column is part of the reserve you're referencing. And I think it's like, is it like $500,000 or $600,000?
Cash on deposit?
Yeah, no, I mean unrestricted.
It's 1 million. Well, it's cash on deposit investments and CDs, and it's $1,355,000.
No, I mean, I'm talking about public housing only.
I'm just looking at the cash investments. I don't have that page open either. I guess you'd have to help me with that.
Okay. You're talking about page, what I handed out today, or what are you referencing?
No, I'm referring to your December 31st, 2024 audit.
Which would be, I believe you are looking at, the handout today would be hand note page number 13 and 14. Does that look familiar? That we're talking, is this what you're referring to?
Well,
I mean, I can't answer the question unless I know what you're looking at.
in the audit and under the summary of the significant accounting policies, it references the various fund accounting and it references a lot of stuff. And one of the references is your net position, which includes cash and investments. And I guess what I'm saying is it looks like you have I'll just round it to $1.3 million of unrestricted money. And so I get it, and I understand that, yeah, there's different programs, but if you put it all together and you've operated 144 units for a number of years, and the levy has gone up significantly, and I'm looking at your projected replacement budget. I just don't know that. I'm trying to calculate how we get from 25 or 50 or 75 or 100 or $200,000, when there's not basically been a significant change in the operation. Other than that, your answer to the data request referenced the office and the addition. I don't question that request at all. I question whether, when you look at the operation, to ask our taxpayer for another $200,000, trying to find the math, when you have $1.35 million in reserve.
Okay, but let's go back to your original question. The statement you're making is a consolidated total amount in the narrative in the audit.
Yeah.
What I'm pointing out is page 13 and 14, which breaks it down into the assets of what the total makes up, what you're referencing. So if you go to page 13, look at the very first column, and this is my point of reference, is the public housing. It's a HUD program. We have 80 units of public housing. So if you go down to the bottom, which is part of the total of what you're making reference to, and it says unrestricted, 632,334. That's unrestricted funds we have in public housing. That does not mean we can use those funds for other projects within the HRA. They're restricted by HUD regulations to dedicate that money only for public housing.
Right. So
and that's true with, I can go through each one of these, and that's my point, is that each one of those unrestricted balances, which total up to what you made reference to in the audit narrative, is all restricted items within those programs and projects. We can't just take money out of one and use them for another.
So this is a balance sheet. If you take current assets minus current liabilities, you have $627,000 of working capital.
I'm not sure where you're.
Well, I'm looking at page 13, and on a balance sheet, if you take current assets minus current liabilities, working capital, you have $627,000 in working capital. You have a lot of money.
You're okay. I'm sorry, Ken. I'm not sure where.
Well, on page 13, under public housing, you reference, if you take current assets minus current liabilities, is working capital.
The unrestricted assets, $2,334.
Yep. Which is very close to your working capital.
Okay.
So my point is, if you have six under that one, that's part of the $1.35 million. It's, how does that tie into the reason that you want to ask for another $200,000? That's what I'm trying to get at. It feels like, Jim, that you have a considerable amount of money in reserve, and I understand why you needed more last year. You answered the question on the data request specifically. It does not appear that those numbers carry forward based on your historical data and your future plan. I'm not there. And I don't know, well, there are other board members in the room, so.
Well, let me make this, maybe I should have made this point before. Let me make this perfectly clear. Grant County levy dollars do not go into federal programs. They do not go into federal programs. The Grant County levy dollars are only for projects that are owned by the Grant County HRA. That are not regulated by HUD or state government.
Maybe to dumb it down a little, because he's a little smarter than some of us probably. Like for this public housing one where we have 680,000 whatever in there. We have to do a 5-year agency plan for the public housing. So say for the bar time and the ones behind the church here and in Herman and all of them, we have to have a 5-year plan. So they'll give us $250,000. We have to say we're gonna use it in 2026 and we're gonna get new refrigerators that haven't been replaced for 25 years. And that's on budget, we have to put money aside for that. They give us money for that. It's in our thing, but we haven't used it yet. Then the next year, we're gonna get new garage doors and shingle. And this is all just public housing, so we have to have that all in there. We get the money ahead of time, we have to show them what we're gonna do every year for 5 years. So that stuff, that isn't really, it's not our money to spend. They give it to us, we do, because these ones, like, their housing, they're all on income based. So we have people that have an apartment and they go by what their income is, and you take any expenses they have every year and then subtract utilities. There's a formula. Some of them are only paying $50 in rent. And we don't get that money back. We get a portion of it, but we don't get all that money back. So we're losing money. We're not making money on those ones. So therefore, that's why the federal is giving us money to help keep up those. So that money is sitting there and it looks like we have all this money, but we really don't. It's ear take to what we need to do it to. Now, like you said, the levy goes to all our ones that we don't get a dime for. So that's where we need the money to help if shingles go down, it costs a lot of money to reshingle all those places and, just everything, like I said, all the issues.
So I draw you to page 14, and if you look at each fund, which Jim is referencing, there's only one of them that's a negative, which is market rate rentals. And if you go across to total or adjusted total, that's $1,063,000 of unrestricted money by account. It's on page 14, third line up from the bottom.
Well, now I'm glad you pointed out, because that's a very good point. The market rate rental column, that's the HRA owned buildings. And just like Ron was saying, we have a negative unrestricted amount of money of $56,000. That's where the levy makes that up.
Okay. Good.
Jim, I got a question for you. The building in Hoffman that exploded, is that HRA owned, or does that fall into the category where you don't get any funds for that building? Which one? The one in Hoffman? We have more than one in Hoffman. Oh, the one that blew up. That's North Star Manor, and that's a HUD building. Okay, all right. So, yeah, all right, I got it. No, so again, and I wanna make this clear, there are no Grant County levy dollars going into a federal program or a state program. Okay. It's only the ones that we do not get federal funds for. Like I said, the third column, market rate rentals. So that's a good example right there. In 2024, we were in a negative $56,000. That's where we would utilize levy funds. How about Jim? In Ashby, there are the units 1 and 2 there. Well, one is government. Department number 2 is rural development, which is a federal government, which we do get funds to operate on those. Ashby number 1, which is a 2-story, which used to be rural development, is basically what we consider market rate. We don't have any state or federal restrictions on those, right? So that'd be another example besides the market rate column. It'd be Ashby Apartments number 1.
So in 10 years, the levy's gone from $45,000 to $200,000, and you've amassed $1.35 million. You have a lot of money.
I'm sorry, Ken, you keep referring to that total. That's a accumulation of all the projects.
I understand, but at some point.
And we can't commingle the money used for one for the other when one needs it. That's my point.
So we just pointed out, you only had one market rate the market rate rentals that was in a negative. All your other operations have a lot of money, and that's coming together in your audit. Jim, you asked for $200,000 to do specifically 4 items from the request. Your answer to the data request to me simply states you needed $200,000 in 25. You do not need $200,000 in 26. The numbers bear out. And that's why the statute says we're supposed to look at the numbers before we ask the taxpayer for this money. It's in the audit.
Mr. Chair, I got a question for you, Jim. So what, back to echoing what Dwight said something about, you know, that issue that happened in Hoffman. Okay, over and above, because I'm sure there was insurance that played a role in things like that, right?
So it's covered except for the deductible, yep.
Yep, so, and, you know, this, if it happened again, which it could happen in the next 15 minutes. Those funds, I mean, you depleted probably what did it cost you for the deductible on that? To get that fixed back up again and put it?
I think $25,000.
Okay.
But apparently I'm not being clear on this. The money that is in each one of those asset component of the audit, you have to stay within your own lane.
Yeah, they're dedicated.
It's not an accumulation of the total you're referring to, Ken, and now we can use that total for any one of those programs or projects. We can.
I draw you to page 26 of the audit, note 8. Extraordinary gain. During the year ended 2024, the authority received insurance proceeds totaling $476,000 in relation to significant damage sustained in the public housing building in Hoffman. The insurance proceeds exceeded the net carrying value of the damaged assets, resulting in an extraordinary gain of $476,864, which has been recognized in the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in the net position. Does that mean you made $476,000 on that incident as an extraordinary gain?
Can you really believe that?
No, I asked.
Okay. The statement in the audit, and I'm not sure if you're on the findings, or where are you?
I'm in the notes of the financial statement.
Okay. If you read onto that, that's how we reported the income in the office when the check came in. That is not revenue. That is a capital improvement. So it goes in, it gets converted to a capital improvement, not revenue.
So the construction in progress, the $500,000 is the offset to that. Is that what you're telling me?
It's not revenue. You and I, probably on a cash basis accountant, would look at it as revenue because we got a check for that amount of money. Counting wise, on an accrual basis, that goes into the value of the building.
You answered my question.
Okay.
I asked it. Thank you.
Getting back to the 7 points that you made reference to, the need for the money. And here are the 7 points. Number 1, due to the cost of maintaining HOA properties. Most HOA properties, non-federal, are over 25 years old. 2, utilities in each city keep increasing annually. 3, insurance premiums have increased dramatically. 4, remodeling the HOA current office. 5, furniture and miscellaneous expenses associated with remodeling the new office. 6, maintaining the new office, utilities, grounds, and maintenance, which is about, we found out it's about $40,000 a year. 7, new storage space, $100,000. These were responses to Mandy Westrom's question about the 2025 funds. So it wasn't just the $100,000 for the new storage space, it's all of these responses.
So items 4 through 7 completed?
6 is an ongoing expense because that's the operation of the office. 7 were almost complete. Furniture and miscellaneous expenses, yes. And pretty much remodeling the HOA current office, yes.
So the storage is complete?
Almost, but yeah.
Based on that, Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion that we levy $100,000 because those items demonstrate the 200 is not needed.
Just our insurance costs $71,000 a year. You know, it's stuff like that.
The numbers don't bear it out. I made a motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. We get a second. And we can have more discussion. Anybody want to second it? I'll second it, so then we can have more discussion if there's more discussion.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
So I realize I'm not sitting there, but my understanding of what, if we have not met the statute requirements, we cannot levy anything. If we have met the statute requirements, we don't have a county policy that says we can go from the 200 asked for to the 70 or the 100, whatever it is. So short of having that, if there's a motion to approve anything, that tells me we've met the statute and we don't have a policy to say we can't do the full 200. That's where I'm at with that.
Well, Troy, are you saying that since we haven't met the statute, we can't levy anything?
I am not sitting there today seeing what was presented, so I can't say we've met the statute or not. I'm saying by you making that motion, I'm going to assume that what was presented meets the statute. Now, okay, we've met the statute, we can levy money. I don't know that it says we can arbitrarily pick an amount. If we didn't meet the statute, we didn't meet the statute. But let's say we've met it. I don't know that we have any internal policy that says we can go from the 200 requested to the 100.
So let me ask you another question, Mr. Chair. So when you're saying met the statute, are you referencing Mr. Standish's presentation of information as it relates to the budget and its various, the financial information? Is that your reference to statute?
I'm saying we talked at the last meeting that without a budget, we can't levy the $200,000. So if we have not met the requirements of the statute, we cannot budget anything. We can't levy anything. If we're saying that we're going to levy 100 instead of 2, that tells me then that those sitting in the room look at that and they say we've met the requirements for a budget presented. Otherwise, we can't levy anything. Then, so let's say we've met it. We can budget something or we can levy something. I don't know where we get the authority to go from the 200 to the 100.
The chair, we should have a discussion on whether we accept Mr. Standish's budget before that should be what the discussion is then.
Well, yeah, we got discussion. Go ahead and go ahead.
Well, certainly with this information that I'm looking at, he's met his requirement. That's what I see. I mean, what else can they do?
Yeah, we don't have any more information.
Yeah, so that part's fine. And as far as the 200,000, look at what's gone on with HRA the last 3 years. You know, they had to move. They had to move. So they had to move everything and they had to have storage and you know, I see what goes on with HRA because I'm around those buildings a lot in Ashby. And I don't see a problem with $200,000 for those buildings in Ashby. It probably would take $200,000 on just there to get them up, you know, to snuff. They're good, but you know, and we have there's just a lot of expenses going on there, and I get to know all these people in those housing units, and they need it. So I don't see why you know, this budget here is fine for me, and I don't see why we don't go with 200,000. Because every town depends on this stuff, and it's a need, so.
Mr. Chair, I don't question the need at all, and it's not, to me, it's not an HRA whether the county needs the service. To me, is that we levied $200,000 in reference to items 4, 5, 6, and 7, based on Mandy's data request. They're completed. The math doesn't bear out the need for 200,000, and it's not been demonstrated in the balance sheet. And this, the audit and the statistics show 200 is more than our taxpayers should need to pay. The proof is in the numbers. Not in the need, but in the numbers.
Bill, you got any more?
Costs go up, you guys. Insurance to cover these dwellings goes up. You know, there's always updates. There's flooring, there's, you know, faucets, there's air conditioning units, there's fridges, there's roofing. You know what I mean? There's always issues that arise that you can't forecast. And to maintain as many buildings as you guys do in the county as a whole, $200,000 is not that much to ask to keep that level of service for our elderly. And that's what this does. Biggest share of them are elderly. I mean, there's some other people in there, but in my opinion, that level of service, you know, that complements Grant County because we do take care of our own people, right? Well, that's the true cost of that 200,000, you know, is not a burden, in my opinion, on the taxpayer of the county. It's not, because it performs. And we look at it on all these regional boards, what our dollars and how they perform and whether they perform and whether we could retool it to perform. Okay, which we do all the time. Dwight and I sit on Rainbow and there's things going on and we, you know, we sit on these regional boards and we get, you know, that there's some dollars that are sitting around in some of these boards, but it isn't, it's more of a, and I wouldn't call it a nest egg because $600,000 ain't that much. It's not. It's a, you know what I mean? You could have 2-3 incidences and a couple of fires and, you know, pretty soon, you know what I mean? You're not backfilling what's sitting there. So that's where I'm at with it. 200 isn't that big of a price tag.
Could I say something too? And people don't realize that they're elderly, but they're also people who are a little disabled, whether it is mentally or physically. I know people that have kids, friends, family members that live with adult foster care, who those people get paid $100,000 for one person.
Right.
Where we are housing a half a dozen of them. Think how much money that would cost if they had to leave and go live. And the county has to pay for that foster and the state does whatever. I mean, we're taking burden off of other places too.
And we're not building homes like we're doing like they're doing in Alec and Fergus. What these settings do, these HRA settings and things like that, it open up homes so people can actually sell their real estate and move in and rent and have a double garage to go into a double garage if they can get on the waiting list, you know, so. And of course, we're not building them fast enough for the public out here. I know that. They're chomping at the bit. Will you hurry up, get this stuff done? You know, well, in my opinion, you know, that need is addressed here for the elderly to open up homes in our communities. And it's every town in the county that happens.
Mr. Chair, in 2020, we had 114 units. And the levy was 50,000. I agree costs went up. My motion was for 100. Not 50, not 0, but not 200. So I'm recognizing that costs have gone up. I do not believe if, once again, the numbers bear it out, and I do not believe any of those people are at risk. The audit shows that.
Troy, you have anything else?
I'm not disagreeing with Ken. I'm just saying, where's the authority to change from the 200 to the 100 if we've met the budget, if we met the statute requirements? Where do we have the authority to change from the 200 to the 100?
We don't have an attorney in the room to address that, so. In my opinion, the county board has the latitude to take care of its residents in the county, and this is a form of it. And we've already addressed it last year with the 200, and we seem to be here. Any penny the sky isn't falling. I think another 200,000 moving forward. We can certainly revisit this every year, but this 200,000 to get them up, get them running, make sure that these needs and And, you know, the processes are met. I mean, a lot of times this is all local contractors that they hire, whether it be plumbing and heating and things like that, that revenue heads that direction, so. It doesn't leave the county, so in my opinion, we're benefiting businesses throughout the county as a whole.
Don't get me wrong, I don't like the $200,000 amount. I just don't see where we have the authority to change it.
Mr. Chair, you're making reference to statute to change. Isn't the statute that we're supposed to review the budget and make the decision? So I'm just.
Right. So if you look at the statute, it says you have to have the budget to levy anything. And by making a motion for $100,000, that indicates to me that we have what is required by statute. Where does the authority then come in to say, we disagree, we can only do 100?
Call for the question, Mr. Chair. You got a motion on the floor.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. And
with 100,000.
Tina, you wanna read the motion again, please?
Motion was made by Ken Johnson, seconded by Doyle Spear, to approve $100,000 tax levy for HRA.
Okay,
Yes.
Bill,
No.
Dwight,
No.
Troy,
No.
Doyle, yes. Motion failed.
Mr. Chair, can I say one thing now?
Go ahead.
Okay. So next year, let's just sit down a little bit here. And, before the, you know, and talk to HRA beforehand. So we have a figure that falls into everything that we're looking at. I mean, the approved budget and so there's nothing wrong with talking about this beforehand.
No?
So that's all it's about.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
We've talked previously about having a policy for the county that says preliminary levy requests need to be in by, let's say, June or July 1st, so we can get what we need to verify the amounts are truly required. This is a conversation we should have done prior to the preliminary levy, not a week before, 2 weeks, but whatever it is until the levy has to be set. We need to be doing this in the summer.
By statute, is that what you're referring to, which I've never seen?
No, we just need
No,
to.
not by statute, by internal county policy, which we would have to develop.
So I get a question, Mr. Chair. So if we don't have policy and based on statute do 100, do we have policy and statute to do 200? Or where does the statute bear any weight? Maybe that's a question for Mr. Johnson.
Well, I asked our attorney after the last meeting, and he said, if without the proper budget, we can't levy anything. So we have to have a budget to levy something. So whether it's 200 or 100, that would tell me that there's a budget there. I don't know where we then change it. That would come, to me, that then comes in the internal policy that says, okay, well, you have to show us the need for it.
So then based on that, what you're saying, we can't levy anything unless we have a special meeting and review what Mr. Johnson's saying.
Well, I didn't say that at all. I also haven't voted to approve the 200. I don't know what was presented there today. So if there is, I don't know where we would get the justification to change it.
So later in the meeting, when the budget is approved, that's on the line, you're saying that that'll get approved or just, or changed at that point.
We're not there yet. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, well, I guess then to be continued until our county auditors upon. That's what I'm hearing, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
May I ask a question?
go ahead.
What we submitted today, is that acceptable budget as what you felt was being requested? I mean, I asked specifically a few days ago what you wanted from both Coordinator Lindquist and Ken Johnson. What are you looking for? And I didn't get very clear answers, so based on that, that's what we submitted today. So my question is this acceptable budget according to statute? Is this what you're accepting?
I guess I don't know what else you would have to give it. Myself.
If this was, Mr. Chair, I got a statement to make. If this was a hot button issue, we've created a precedence by moving forward with this. And I've been on the county board and this has never come up. Okay, so we should have created a policy a long time ago that created the SOP to move forward where we can levy these funds for you guys, right? And get a budget in a certain set time, right? Never come up, ever. So, and now we're sticking to statute when it's probably been on the book since whatever, the 50s, 60s, 70s, who knows? Don't make any sense to me. We're creating a precedence.
Mr. Chair, I have a question back there.
Go ahead.
What percentage of the budget is this 200,000? Of the total budget for Grant County?
Of the levy?
Of the levy for the whole county? What are we talking about? 10%? Are we talking 1%? Are we talking 0.5%?
All I know is I paid $8.50 on my tax statement this year for it.
Because you are a taxing authority. Right. Yeah.
Okay,
I see what Doc's saying.
yeah, what are we talking about here? $100,000 on what's your budget?
Well,
Is it,
What is it?
how many millions of dollars is it?
our total all levies,
Chad is right outside and he has all the information.
I mean, just give me a round figure.
8.5 million bucks.
Huh?
8.5.
8.5 million?
Local levy.
Then what's 100,000 on that?
Do the math. Right? $80.
That's my point.
thank you, Doc.
Well, let me just comment on that, and you're right, because that is math. That's not leadership. And that's what we have to do. If you can justify going from the same units up that much in that many years, fine. But if you look at the financial statement, the numbers don't bear out. The need is there, the emotion is there, the math is there, other than you have a lot of money and the request, I believe it.
Look what other costs have done the last 5 years. Since COVID, look at what it's done. And to me, that doesn't seem like a high jump to me for the benefits we get out of that and the people that are in them. And when I heard, yeah, I know there's people in those units that if they weren't in them units, they'd be in the nursing home. They would be.
It wouldn't be in Grant County.
No. So, and, but they're happy because I know them. They like it there. And, those are the people there that need to be helped. And HRA is doing that through this whole county. I guess I'm not sure if I got an answer. What we presented today, is this an acceptable presentation of the budget that fulfills the Minnesota statute of the HRA levy budget request? It is to me.
I don't know what else you're gonna present, I guess.
I don't have a copy of the statute, but we've never had to live by the statute before, so I'm on board with the 200.
If not, we'd like to know so we can make a presentation that is satisfactory.
So are we gonna vote again, or what are we gonna, what do you wanna do?
Oh, it was just discussion there after the vote.
Well, we're gonna get an opportunity to approve the budget. When Mr. Van Zanten presents it. And it's on there at 200,000, and whether we accept that at that point will be, I guess, the determination.
Then we're gonna move on.
Well, clarification. We are gonna look at the county budget whenever I'm on. We had our meeting last night. The HRA levy request is not part of the county budget. This is a special levy outside of the county, so when we approve the budget. It does not include the HRA levy. No. Just so you're clear on that.
But Chad, is it part of the resolution you provided though?
Part of the resolution for the levy. Right. As a separate levy. But it's not part of the overall county budget for levy. Right.
But it is resolution number. It's on there.
As a separate levy as requested by the HRA, yes.
Right.
But it's not part of the county budget on the county overall levy.
So what do you wanna do?
I don't know, I'd ask Troy Johnson.
So like Chad said, it's not part of the budget. We need to set a final levy. And what I'll say is if the board sitting there is split, I haven't seen what HRA has provided. So I don't know if that meets what we need for a budget anyway. So that part's gonna have to get tabled I can't see it. We have until Chad can correct me, but I believe December 29th to set the final levy. I mean, we can do
Correct.
everything else. We can set the budget, we can do the county part, but the final levy, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen what was presented by the HRA today.
Mr. Chair, should we address it or wait until the resolution that's on the agenda later?
We'll just wait.
Okay,
So, Mr. Chair, we're gonna have to have a special meeting before the 29th
I would
for
imagine
the budget and the HRA ask.
the HRA is not in the budget.
No, but I asked the HRA ask. It was not in the budget. It shows here, and Chad will come up with, this is the paperwork that we talked last night in Truth and Taxation. So it shows this is not being part of the budget. Anybody wanna see any of this stuff? Dennis, you probably got copies, right?
So
So
the
at least
motion
everybody's
failed.
aware.
So the motion failed.
Yeah.
Okay, so we move on and later on the agenda is the county auditor who is presenting the information and part of in your packet was the resolution that Chad just referenced. That shows the budget and then there's the separate part of the resolution that talks about HRA. So depending upon if this fails or doesn't fail, depending upon how the vote on this resolution later in the agenda goes, then I believe then that's when you would decide if there needs to be a special meeting, because if this passes with that, then it's passed.
Yeah.
So the motion that Ken had failed, 3-2.
Yeah,
So that's failed.
done deal.
That's a done deal. Then when you get to the budget, when Chad's on with this resolution, which you all got in your packet last week, that has the HRA levy request that was requested $200,000, then the 5 of you will decide on this. And then from there, you'll know what you have to do.
That's right.
It's an every year thing. We do it every year.
I got a question, Mr. Chair. Okay, so. My thinking is, I'm okay with this for a budget. What was your thinking, Ben?
Absolutely. Yep.
Don't you think we should ask right here if, we have a majority here that think this is okay? Why do we gotta do anything else? We already voted.
We can. I was asking what you wanted to do. Well,
I guess I would like to have you ask us if it's okay.
is it?
For me,
Fine with it?
I'm fine with it.
You wanna vote again, or what do you wanna do?
We need a motion on the floor, right?
I'll make a motion that we have a vote to see if this document that HRA presented to us is sufficient. In terms of being a budget, that we can make these decisions on. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
So what is the question? Are we just asking if that is a budget, or are we asking to approve the $200,000?
No, we already voted to not do the $100,000. This is just a motion. Is this good enough for us to work off of as a budget for HRA? And it is for me.
My second is, they provided a budget, now we'll move forward. There's a motion on the floor and a second. Mr. Chair, call for the question.
Ken, you got anything else?
No, I don't, I think I agree with Jim, because this is the first time we've asked it ever, and there's a lot of numbers there, and so to ask for more, I don't know what it would be. I think Jesus applied a lot of stuff.
So, right, your motion is that that this is the budget information the board wants. That's
Yes.
your motion.
Yes, it's sufficient for us to make the
Bill,
decision.
you seconded it.
Correct.
I think it was important. There's only 4 of us that have seen the data, so.
I will be abstaining. We'll see what the vote is.
Sure.
I can't see it.
Ken?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Dwight?
Yes.
Troy?
He can't vote.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. I'm a yes. Carried.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, HRA, for what you guys do.
Got an empty box there. Donut.
Ashley?
I'm trying.
You can hold it.
That's one project we already doing. Plus there's some unbudgeted program. For instance, that I don't like, this was a program. Sure. It's no budget. But we brought in $900,000 to save money. Seven or more, first time aware. And that doesn't show up. You can. So I mean, that's. That's part of the others. I'm trying to prevent it. They're not fungible. Right, there's a number of them.
So we got to close.
Well, that's good. That's what I didn't see. All right.
I didn't see that.
Better regulations.
I need help getting out that. Some days I, yeah.
So then you can take that one.
You can see pretty good.
Oh, shit, that's what I was saying. I didn't read that, I know what, I didn't read it.
Yeah. And then they would leave.
Then they'll open the door and all that. Oh, you got closed session right now, Ashley?
Yep.
Oh, well, I'll leave that.
I mean, this is what you're doing.
We don't have,
It's not involved.
we don't have this, we don't have the settings to do that.
It's not.
That's the only thing.
I have a very good story. I'm very lucky.
Yeah, it looked like everyone was very sporty.
Yeah.
What is this break time?
Okay.
I might stay here like this, that's it, don't.
So.
I mean, yeah.
I used to be Debbie, I was worried about people here. And I go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, that's a long time ago. What class were you in there? 72. When you graduated? I'm sorry.
Question I had, somebody asked this.
Oh, yeah.
How can we?
I also remember losing.
Gives an answer that or we'll be later.
Was actually where the Marty's going, right? I didn't start.
Yes, we all left.
There are other areas of the forest, we all probably should have started. Thank you.
See you later.
That, no, I don't know how to go up the second. It's intimidating. Yeah, we're right. But yeah. With other people are really thinking about. So I mean. Got pressure though. That's that. And all coaches actually. And not knowing dollars for the parents. 40,000. Yeah. 10 years ago. You know, played a lot of basketball. Now, there's like, you just have to do it. Parents, so, yeah. And that's where somebody you stay on, I'm not right, so that very long time.
Yeah, like for private.
That's just the thing, yeah, into the weeds. Take your long.
Yeah. I think it's.
It's slowing down.
Oh, this was bad, the closed session. Oh, and then we can, already.
Can't believe it. That's a pretty, well, if you're.
I will.
Let me do it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I read that.
I don't,
No, I wanna listen.
brilliant. Thanks for the text.
Huh?
Thanks for the text.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll need a motion to close the meeting for negotiation.
Motion to close the meeting, Mr. Chair.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor of the motion? Ken? Aye. Doyle, aye. Dwight?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Troy?
Aye.
Any close?
All right, Eric. It's a closed session. Right now.
We're gonna vote on something.
We're gonna open it back up.
Oh, later?
Yeah, it shouldn't take very long, just a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just help me get the hell
No,
out
no.
here.
All right, so this meeting would be closed due to labor negotiations proposal under Minnesota statute 13D.03 subdivision 1B.
I need to turn video off.
Hey, Matt, I got a question here. Nothing serious. Grover keeps asking me up in Ashby about those streetlights. Whose jurisdiction are they on, 82 and 78?
Those are,
They're ours.
and they're fixed.
They are fixed now? He was, talking to me about it 2 nights ago. Yeah. They've probably been fixed for a week.
Didn't you take a lawnmower down there to skip around? Then it's probably a few weeks now since they fixed those feet. At least 20.
How about? Yeah. Oh, he asked me was all 3 days ago.
Right. They've been fixed since then.
It's like.
I don't know, sir. I've always been, that's what you get for going there, or in front of me.
Regular.
They're fighting there, so.
No, because we had to open them. No, we had to open, need a motion to open.
Oh, I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it again.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, Ken?
Aye.
Doyle, aye. White?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Troy?
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, so I will start with, we are looking to implement, our wages for 2026, and I'd be looking for non-union, non-contracted employees at this time. So our insurance contribution, I'll look for that motion first, but the insurance, the employer contribution would be for single health coverage, taking single health coverage would be $950 a month. Employees taking family coverage would be $2,000 a month. And then everything else remains the same. So HSA would remain the same at single. The employer will pay $50 into an HSA a month, and it would put $125 a month into a family HSA. The other language that would stay the same as the employees hired before January 1, 2024, who waive coverage with proof of other group coverage or insurance shall receive cash in lieu of $850 a month, even if an employee makes an insurance change. And the employees hired after January 1, 2024 would not be eligible to receive cash in lieu. So that would be the proposal for the employer contribution.
Did we get a motion to agree with that?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
A second?
Second.
Motion second, any more discussion? All in favor, Ken?
Aye.
Doyle, aye. Dwight?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Troy?
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, so next is the implementation of non-union wages. And so what the proposal would be how we figured to be adding a 3% onto their employees' 12/31/2025 wage. Taking that wage and putting them on the new scale of the wage study, on the closest step on their assigned grade. And this would be effective 1/1/26.
Okay, can we get a motion for that?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor, Ken?
Aye.
Doyle, aye. Dwight?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Ken, or Troy?
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, the next piece of that would be for 27 and 28, for both years.
We get a motion for that?
What was that, Ashley?
3.5%,
Oh.
27, 28.
I'll make that motion.
Get a second?
I'll second it.
Any more discussion?
Wait, what are we approving for 27 and 28?
3.5.
This is for the non-union? We've never done that before. We've always just done it on a year to year. I mean,
We
we've
can do
always
that.
done what's in the contracts, but
Right, and we can do that and just follow the union contract.
Yeah, it's just new. I just wanted to make sure we knew, we hadn't done this. We do it annually, but
Yeah, we can wait. That's fine. That was just the last part of it.
well, if we have a motion in a second, we might as well, that's what we're gonna do.
Yes, exactly. Call for the question, Mr. Chair.
Ken?
Well. Is this a deflection from what is normal?
It's in the contract.
We typically just follow the union contracts
Right.
or non-unions. Colas.
And this is what we'd be doing then?
That's what we'll be doing with it,
Yes.
the union I'll be bringing up, yes.
Okay. I,
Doyle, aye. Dwight,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Troy,
All right,
motion carried.
All right, so the next thing I have is just more of a correction. So last board meeting, I brought the deputy assessor job description, to get approved and then at the assessment technician. However, in the board packet, our discussion was the same, the correct information, but what I submitted was the incorrect, not updated job description. So I would just be looking to get approval for the correct deputy assessor job description that was in your packet that reflects the 11/2025 review for both positions. For the deputy assessor and then the assessment technician, the 11/2025 review date. However, the assessment technician, there was an update in the license for the certified assessment technician certification. So just looking to get those approved, the right job descriptions that were submitted.
make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, Ken?
Aye.
Doyle, aye. Dwight,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Troy,
all right.
motion carried.
All right, so the next thing I have is, we have, come to an agreement with the law enforcement, union, the sheriff's office union. And so I will go through the things that we have discussed, to look for a, motion to approve the contract for those 3 years. The first thing was discussed was employee rights, it's grievance, it's just adding state statute into the grievance part of that article. So it's just following state statute. Article 10 was work schedule. So right now, employees get a uniform allowance. And the proposal was employees that leave employment with 10 years of service or more with a remaining uniform balance would receive the funds put into their healthcare savings plan. So they wouldn't be paid out, they'd be paid into their healthcare savings plan. The next one would be vacation. So employees right now, cannot go over 306 hours, throughout the year. And so this proposal would be employees are eligible to have unlimited vacation accrual throughout the year, but not exceed 306 hours by the end. So right now, if they go over, they have to ask for vacation, get denied, and they get it paid out per the union contract. This would allow them to get unlimited vacations, so you don't have to worry about that payout throughout the year, but they have to be down to 305, 306, or they will lose it.
What was that number again? 30 what?
306. Probation period, right now, everyone in the sheriff's office has a 1-year probationary period. They're not able to use vacation during this time. So the proposal would still be a 1-year probation period, but after 6 months, they'd be able to utilize their vacation. Still be on a 1 year. The next one would be insurance. So what we talked about previously was employer contribution of single $950 a month for a single coverage. Family coverage would be $2,000 a month. And then everything else remains the same. HSA remains the same at single plan, $50 a month, a family plan, $125 a month. And employees hired before January 1, 2024, who they have covered with proof of other group insurance shall receive cash in lieu of $850, even if the employee makes an insurance change. Employees hired after January 1, 2024 will not receive cash in lieu. And then rate of pay would be adding 3% onto the employee's 12/31/2025 rate of pay, using that wage to then put them on the new scale, closest to the step of their assigned grade. And then the duration would be a 3-year contract, 27 and 28 would both be 3.5%. And then some housekeeping items would be, in the contract right now, we don't, it specifies deputies, sergeants, and dispatchers, but we have investigator now, so we wanted to add the investigator into that language as well. And then right now we have an MOU for employer contribution language. We want to add that into the contract. And then we also have an MOU for incentive pay, and we want to add that into the contract as well. So those are the few housekeeping items. So that is the proposal from the LELS group. The other one I would be coming forth with an MOU like we talked about was the firearms. Utilizing, they'd be able to take, if they leave in good standing, able to take their firearm with them, paying the filing fee for that. But I will be bringing that at a later date. So right now you're just approving the previous things that I had discussed.
Well, could we get a motion to accept the contract?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Second,
I'll second it.
any more discussion?
What happens at the end of the year if the vacation, Ashley, if they're over at the end of the year, they lose it?
Yeah.
There's no payouts or anything. Okay.
Any more discussion? Ken?
Just, yes. Are we creating a scenario where if you could carry over hours and it gets to be December, we might have, if it's use it or lose it, we could have a pretty slim crew?
The department heads can deny vacations on the needs of the office.
So that's still
That's still in.
same as the adult, or,
Then I'll vote aye.
Dwight,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Troy,
Troy, can you repeat that, please?
I voted aye.
motion carried.
All right, so the next one, the LELS Chief Deputy Agreement, so this is a new contract. They have agreed to the contract, it would just be approving, the full contract, and then the insurance, which I'll repeat, would be the employer contribution, single, $950 a month, family, $2,000 a month. HSA would remain the same, single, $50 a month, family, $125 a month, and then employees hired before January 1, 2024, who waive coverage with proof of other group insurance shall receive cash in lieu of $850, even if the employee makes an insurance change. Employers hired after January 1, 2024 will not be eligible for cash in lieu. Rate of pay would be the same, adding a 3% to the employee's 12/31/2025 rate of pay, using that wage to place them on the new wage scale on the closest step of their assigned grade. And then the duration of this contract again would be 27, 3.5%, 28, 3.5%.
Do you have any questions on that? You get a motion? Accept that?
So move, Mr. Chair.
You get a second?
I'll second it, then we can have a discussion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Ken, aye. Doyle, aye. Dwight,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Troy,
Aye.
motion carried.
The last thing is just the MOU that goes with the chief deputy contract. So the representative prefers to have the MOU for the cafeteria plan or the employer contribution separate from the contract. So this is just an MOU like we had before. It's just not going in the contract. Outlining the employer contribution of the $950 and the $2,000, and then the HSA language, and then the employees that waive coverage. So this is just the MOU that would be attached to the contract.
Okay, can we get a motion to?
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chair.
Could I get a second?
I'll second it. And when were you bringing that MOU in front of us again? January?
The other MOU, yes, will be January.
This is
Just with the chief deputy, the
Right.
employer contribution.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Yeah. Doyle, aye. White,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Troy,
Aye.
Motion carried.
I have. Thank you.
Dad?
Well, I am, on the agenda, about budgets and levies and resolutions. So we started working in the county's, budget and, preliminary budgets and levies, which were adopted in September, as you know. We've had meetings with the Budget and Finance Committee in preparation for the final levy and budgets. We had our meeting for taxation last night, which you were at attendance at, with the exception of Troy. I have sent out what was approved and adopted as the preliminary levy and budget, kind of the summary sheet that you adopted in September. I sent out a revised budget and levy sheet that shows the total budgets, even those that do not include a levy or require a levy on behalf of the county. We discussed those last night, so I think you guys are aware of those. So at this time, I believe it is the recommendation before you to approve the resolution that was provided as it stands for the county budgets and the county levy. You guys have any questions? Anything come up since last night at 7 o'clock when we were talking about it since then?
So that motion doesn't include the non-budget levy, the HRA piece.
On the resolution, it does include that. It doesn't mean you can't strike that part of the resolution. It's just a resolution that was.
They table the $200,000 request pending all 5 board members reviewing the data.
And everything else is fine, or?
And everything else on budget fine.
Clear.
Do we get a motion?
That was the motion, that was your motion, so.
We have a motion, we have a second? Have a good second? I'll second, and then we have some discussion.
Can I get that motion read back?
A motion was made by Ken Johnson and seconded by Doyle Spear to table the HRA tax levy request portion of resolution 2025-1216-1.
So you need to put a table it until when? If you table it indefinitely, it dies. You need to put a date on there.
Mr. Chair, I would say prior to the end of the year, when our final budget has to be.
29th.
29th, thank you.
I believe it. I don't have my computer in front of me, Troy. I had sent you an email.
Yes, it was the 29th. I can't get into that computer right now either, so.
Just confirming.
Yep. I think rather than have it that broad, we should make a determination if we can right now as of to a day.
Well, we And with the morning of the 29th.
Well, I mean, if you want to set it for the 29th, I'm fine with that. Let's just not leave it up in limbo. Let's put a date in the motion.
I put the date in motion, December 29th of 2025.
And M,
What do you think?
At 10. Did you say 10 o'clock?
Yeah, that's
well, I
fine.
said 9, but 10's fine.
Well, let's go 9. Normal meeting time.
Okay, so I'm going to read this back to make sure it's accurate. A motion was made by Ken Johnson and seconded by Doyle Spear to table a HRA tax levy request portion of resolution 20251216-1 to be reviewed December 29th, 2025 at 9 a.m.
But you said the reason to do it was for Troy to look at this.
Yeah, to review the data.
To be reviewed. Yeah.
Any more discussion?
So we are approving, we're tabling that, but approving the rest of this resolution.
Yeah. Did you hear that?
You said yes, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I have
Tina, will you have a copy of that for me when I get back?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I have a question, Mr. Chair, so what good is it gonna do to? You know, I understand Troy wants to read that, but we already said, 4 of us said that that's sufficient for a budget. So what good is it gonna do?
Mr. Chair, the motion was whether the data was sufficient to the statute. That's what we voted on.
Yes.
Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean the data that's sufficient for the statute is sufficient for the motion, for the resolution. That's 2 different issues.
I don't quite get that, but.
Well, Mr. Standish asked if the data was adequate for the statute. And we rendered a decision that it was.
And it passed.
Yeah. Yes.
So why are we retracing our tracks?
Let me repeat myself, that it's adequate for the statute, that doesn't necessarily mean absent of everybody seeing the data means that it's adequate for the resolution of 200,000. It's 2 issues.
Doesn't matter, it's passed.
I don't get it, because basically, who are we to say that if 100,000, like was discussed, the request was for 200, either it's all or nothing. 4 of us said that this was a sufficient budget. And are we gonna meet on the 29th and change that? We voted on it.
Yeah.
That's what was the motion, Tina?
A motion was made by Ken Johnson and seconded by Doyle Spear and failed to approve $100,000 tax levy for HRA. Discussion, does the county have authority to change the levy amount requested? Troy's discussion point. That that we need to put a policy in place that before the preliminary budget is prepared, the county meets with all the people requesting money to review the budgetary need. A motion was made by Dwight Walbotney and seconded by Bill Valley, saying that what was provided as a budget was sufficient.
And the vote was 4 to abstain.
The first motion that failed failed 3-2. To reduce it to $100,000. Then the motion that was made to say that the information that was provided was sufficient. Passed. By 1, Troy didn't vote, but it passed by 4.
So we were voting if it was sufficient for the statute. Not the 200,000.
The motion does not reference the statute.
Yes, it does specifically,
No.
Jim asked, he said right there.
The budget.
Jim asked.
Talk statute, the budget. Right? It was sufficient budget to move forward with the 200,000. Statute was not dictated in that resolution. And that was not in the discussion.
Troy Johnson, answer that.
Answer what?
That the motion was whether that data
What
was.
was the question?
He can't, he's not seeing it.
So there's,
Okay.
I'm not a lawyer, but I don't know that it spells out what the budget has to look like. The board said what was provided constitutes a budget.
That's correct.
I can't and won't weigh in on that because I haven't seen it. But the board's 4 votes said it is.
There we go.
And now I said we're tabling it to review the 200,000. So that all of us can view the data that's approved. Well, if, Mr. LaValle, if you're changing the motion, that's not what I voted for.
We're not changing the motion.
Yes, you are. The guy who made it did not make it that way.
Okay, I made the motion to accept this as a budget. That's what my motion was, and it went 4-0. So. Does that, I don't believe that we could change that 200,000 from 100,000. Okay, but my motion was to accept this as a budget, so that's 4-0. But I don't think that, I don't think we can come back later and say, okay, but we're gonna still go to 100,000. They presented their budget, and next year, let's sit down way beforehand and get this all straightened out. So we don't have to sit here and do this.
Mr. Chair, I 100% disagree with that.
Well, we got a motion on the floor. Any more discussion?
Well, I'm gonna vote for this just because I haven't seen it, and it would not be appropriate to weigh in on something I haven't seen that I suspect is gonna be contested 2-2. So I'm gonna vote to table it till that time.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Ken?
Aye.
Doyle? Aye. Dwight?
No.
Bill?
No.
Troy?
Aye.
Motion carried.
What's the next thing, Keith? Is it the resolution for, the funds?
Yeah.
Okay, you should have that resolution in front of you. What we're planning on doing, or what I'm planning on doing is terminating or dissolving the Human Services, Social Services Fund in our financial system, moving those funds into the general fund. It's just an accounting thing. And then establishment of 2 debt service funds or a debt service fund for the ditch. You gotta help me out, 3
Three.
ditch 21.
3 and 21.
bond that was issued, this year for repayment.
We gotta do them individually though, correct?
I
It's one resolution.
believe it's all in one resolution that you should have.
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion? Ken?
Aye.
Doyle? Aye. Dwight?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Troy?
All right,
Terry?
That's all for me.
well, Chad, while you're still there, we did want to bring up, does the board want to have a motion to pay the 27th payroll and 26th? Because it's been precedent to do it the day before a holiday. New Year's Day is January 1, 27. It's a Friday. It would be payroll. There was a question of whether we needed a motion or not to pay it on Thursday. I don't think we do, but while Chad's sitting there, let's have that conversation.
And we had that discussion last night at the meeting, so they're aware of that. It is not my understanding that you would need a motion for that. It's a practice
Okay.
that we have been doing for years.
I wasn't there last night, and I know that was talked about in an email, so thank
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
Okay, Grant County Highway?
Okay. So I'm here to present the 2025 Grant County Ditch reports for ditch 1, 13, 23, 30, 31, and judicial ditch 1. And set the levies for those ditches.
So it's 1, 13,
Yep,
23, 30, and 31.
1, 13, 23, 30, 31, and judicial ditch 1.
Yeah.
I'll go over them pretty quick. Grant County Ditch 1 is mainly an open ditch with some 15-inch clay tile. Summer 2024, cleanup was done a little less than a mile. We did a redetermination of benefits in 2024. Landowner asked me if I would do a clean out in the future of section 2. I plan to have a ditch meeting in winter 25-26 to discuss that. And we have $36,000 approximately of ditch damages we still have to pay, and that was borrowed out of the fund. And then I'm gonna levy $10,000 for future maintenance on that ditch. Ditch 13. Nothing to report on there. Ditch 23. I'm gonna levy $2,000 just to recoup some of that. Did a repair of a standpipe on that ditch this year. Ditch 30, nothing to report there. 31, nothing to report. Summer 24, some beaver dams were removed. Judicial ditch 1. I had a landowner talk to me about some potential maintenance, and that one hasn't been touched in, I don't know, probably 60 years, so there's nothing we can do on that one either. So
there's only 2 of them then.
$10,000 for excuse me, ditch 1 and $2,000 for ditch 23.
So you wanna do them separate or together or what?
It's up to you.
I think we can do the 2025 ditch report
Right,
as one.
right. I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair. Levy the appropriate ditch funds.
Got a motion, do we get a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion, Ken?
Aye.
Doyle, aye. Dwight?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Troy?
All right,
Motion carried. Road permit?
We've been going through our permits and updating them as go, first one we took a look at was the approach permit. We made 3 updates on the permit that I wanted to bring to the board for approval. First change is we put in the types of pipe that are allowed. There's always been discussions or questions about what's acceptable, what's not. We put them into the permit itself, so this was acceptable. The second thing we changed was the maximum width in the driveway approach setting. Typically, all the counties around here have a standard maximum 40-foot wide road of the approach. So that's what you'd like to stick with. You'd be hard pressed to find a 40-foot road in this county. But it would be difficult to justify a 40, something larger than that. Then the third item, the cost share of culvert. Yes, I mean, we've been spending roughly 10,000, 12,000 a year paying for 24 feet of culvert for each approach that goes in. Well, 95% of these approaches that we're paying for culverts are pretty much widening our field approaches and widening of existing approaches. Paying for it. I don't know if that's the best use of that money. I mean, I've seen it in other places where cities and counties will pay for a portion of the culvert through this kind of all we're seeing for the most part is widening of approaches, and we're ending up having to pay for culverts for that. So just checking to see, I met with the highway committee about this, discussed these things, and they were okay with it going away from that, paying for the culvert. So just looking, board's okay with it, approve this permit. If not, they want to discuss it, certainly discuss it further. So that's other than 24. The 24 feet is standard. Yeah. So it'd be the extra. Well, not to pay for 24. Yeah. So it'd be if they wanted to go to 40 or. If they wanted to go wider, yeah, 200, that'd be on them. Yeah.
So when you say 40 feet, that's the top, or
that's the top, isn't it? 40 feet.
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chair, as a member of the highway committee.
Get a second? Or
I'll second it, Mr. Chair.
any discussion? All in favor of the motion? Ken? Aye. Doyle, aye. White?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Troy?
Wrote no.
Troy, can you hear us?
He's thinking. He's now.
He's his mouth a little bit.
Hearing me apparently.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Troy, can you please repeat your vote if you can hear us?
He had to hold or listen.
There, he's got his hand up.
He got the motion in the second, right?
He's got his hand up.
Okay, motion carried.
That's all I have for it.
Okay,
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Verizon wasn't, all Verizon's up there now, so. Is that Stacy?
Oh, that is Jessica.
Jessica?
Hi, Jessica, can you hear us?
I can, thank you. There was a little bit of a delay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jessica Peterson, supervisor with Horizon Public Health. Today, I'm bringing you 11 2026 tobacco retailer applications for approval. Horizon Public Health, on behalf of Grant County, has a responsibility to process tobacco applications annually for retailers that aren't otherwise licensed by cities or townships. Our process for reviewing the application typically involves looking for accuracy and completeness ensuring that the applicant meets the requirements that are set forth in the Grant County Tobacco Ordinance, and also ensuring that proper payment has been made. The 11 applications that are in front of you have met the requirements, and today I'm seeking board approval to issue tobacco licenses to these retailers for 2026.
I'll make that motion and approve them. We have a motion, we have a second?
And I'll second it with all 11 applications included. If you're okay with that, Mr. Johnson?
Yep, that's what it was.
Okay,
Okay. Ken?
Aye.
Doyle, aye. Dwight?
Aye.
Bill?
aye.
Troy?
Aye. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, I switched to my phone.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. County recorder?
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm just here today to give an update on my Laredo print fees, that I brought to the board, yes. We approved the Laredo subscription fees, then, because Fiddler's, licensing fees were increasing 15%. So to offset that cost, we increased our subscription fees and print fees. I was not specific on one of the print fees, for Laredo users. So I just wanted to give you an update that there is a search results prints for 40 cents per page. That was included in the Schedule D that was approved. So I just wanted you to be aware of, that fee that, is new, but was approved. So I wanted to update you on that and then let you know that was also included in our online Laredo, agreements that are sent out for Laredo customers. So I just wanted to give you an update on that.
Okay, so there's nothing we have to, do we have to?
No action.
No, I just wanted to. give you
Okay.
An update, so. All right,
Thank you.
Pete?
So I have two things. The first are the hauler licensing for Ingerbretson. So in our ordinance, we have a line where in order to haul solid waste or recycling materials in our county, you have to be licensed. So this is what you have the first picture. They're an annual license with the fees spelled out in the ordinance, so they're pretty minor fees. And then I got the rest of the documentation that they're insured and everything else from Ingerbretson for that. So I just need you to approve those two for 2026.
So both the organics and the.
No, so it'll be solid waste and recycling.
Okay.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it, Mr. Chair.
Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion? Ken?
Aye.
Doyle, aye. Dwight?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Troy?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Second deal on the agenda there is the organics contract for 2026. It is identical to the one we approved in 2025 at the same rate per hour. Just a quick note, we have some more folks and businesses using organics, so there's a little bit of a cost increase on the end of the year part, but that'll be approved or part of the budget package here next week. So this is just approve Ingerbretson to be the hauler and then to transport it to Glacial Ridge over there and just across the county line in Douglas County by Hoffman.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion?
I'm sorry, Bill, you made the motion. Who was the second?
Aye.
Thank you.
No discussion, all in favor, Ken?
Aye.
Doyle, aye. Dwight?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Troy?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thanks.
We're getting together.
I didn't bring a sleeping bag, so I'm gonna go to stay.
I'm gonna get you back on schedule, just like this. Any questions? Just coming to you today, just a little update on where we've been, what we've been kind of up to. You can kind of see the list of items that we've gone through here this summer, fall. You know, a couple highlights, the highway department helped us out a lot with that bank embankment back behind the law enforcement center, so we really appreciate that. They did a good job back there. That should take care of the issue that we had, and moving forward, that shouldn't be a problem anymore. We're kind of working out the kinks of the snow removal process here.
Has it been snowing?
Well, we had it that one time.
Okay.
And so, anyway, so we're kind of working through that, just seeing what, you know, what works the best and where it should all go to. And so I think the snow is done for the year anyway, so that should be good. We've taken care of that. So, we have, kind of working through some of the control pieces as far as the heating and cooling. The law enforcement, just to give you an update, they had a little issue this last weekend. I don't know if it was cold around here or what happened, but their temperatures did get pretty low this weekend, in the low 60s in a couple of their rooms. And so we're looking into the piece with the controls and how they're preset and what limitations they have. And so, you know, obviously today they're gonna be just fine, but we're gonna try to get that figured out before we get the next cold snap. So, the processes continue. So, other than that, we're still working towards the boiler licensing. Mr. Nibby has been doing a great job, keeping us in compliance to this point. Otherwise, are there any questions on projects? We got some upcoming ones there. We did get some quotes. We still have to have a building committee meeting and talk about the flooring quotes and that sort of stuff. But otherwise, any questions on the list that was there? Anything I can clarify? And otherwise, I'll just give you a quick update. We did switch over to Regroup. Our Code Red system is now Regroup, so it's just kind of interchangeable names at a different vendor. We have already had, this morning as I looked, 308 subscribers in the county for those notification systems. We currently, with our 911 upload, we have 853 contacts that would get a notification if we had to send out an emergency notification currently. So the 308, I think, is a pretty good number for the little over a week or so that we've had it in place. So we still advocate for people to go and sign up for those notifications, as it is but it's right on the website, same place it was before, just got a little different picture there. And you can get those notifications to a landline, to a cell phone. Eventually we'll be able to send to some desktops, probably county employee type deals.
What's the cable TV for Runestone?
It doesn't go to that, no. So that's a little different, getting into that piece, but that part it does not go to. And then we are still working, there are some licensure or some certificate issues with the iPod system currently, and we're working through those, but we have a backup with Stevens County currently to be able to send those out if we need to. So we're covered at this point, but we should have our own internal sources here shortly. So just an update on that, where it's at right now. Any questions on that? That was it. I didn't come to ask for any money. I didn't come to ask for any special anything, just
They weren't
telling
gonna
you.
get any anyway.
Just telling you guys where we're at, so.
Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so, at the end of the year here, there's a couple things we have to do in the, resolution to, set the salaries for the commissioners and meeting pay amounts. And so the resolution was included in your packet.
Both of them. Okay. Resolution 2025-1216 and 4.
-3, we're gonna just do the, just. the
Well,
Well,
commission-
-3 is a revised one, right? -3 is there's a revised one. It's not the one packet, right?
Yep, so when the warrants were sent out, there was an updated resolution that had a change in the last paragraph. So they're two separate resolutions. The first one is establishing the 2026 annual county commissioner's salary and meeting pay. The updated one came to you Monday via email.
Yep.
With the revision in the last paragraph, because there's 3 meetings that commissioners cannot receive meeting pay for, and they're listed in there. We also have to, or the board has to determine your salary. Your current salary is $15,310.99. It can stay the same, or I did, do the math on the 3% to be consistent with what is in the contract. And that amount is $15,770.32, but obviously it's up to the board to set that salary with this resolution.
Anybody have any thoughts?
I'll make the motion that we've done the same as the others, the 3%. 15,770, 30, what you said?
$15,770.32, and anyone feel free to check my math, but.
And make that motion.
For the resolution -3.
Yes.
Meeting pay the same and,
Yeah.
I'll second.
okay, motion and second. Any more discussion?
So I just wanna question before we vote. Now, commissioners, we're under the standing, we're gonna be dividing our salary because it is truly a salary by 27, right? Instead of 26.
I'm not sure if anybody's.
Our
Correct.
salary is
You
gonna be divided by 27 and 20 instead of 26.
Yes, you are correct, Troy.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was out there.
Yeah, that come out of last night's meeting. Yep.
Yep, okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor, Ken?
Aye.
Doyle, aye. Dwight?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Troy?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay. The next one is the resolution 2025-1216-4, establishing the 2026 annual salaries for elected officials.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair. For the resolution, as Tina just stated, 2025-1216-4.
And just for informational purposes, for those in the room, it's the county attorney, county sheriff, county auditor, county recorder, and county treasurer.
Okay, we have a motion, can we have a second?
I'll second it, Mr. Chair.
Any discussion?
Bill, you made the first.
All in favor of the motion, Ken?
Aye.
Doyle, aye. Dwight?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Troy?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, the other item is we've, at a past commissioner meeting, talked about our phone system and what we're going to do when the state sunsets the phone system we're currently on. I shared with you at the time, the pricing, and the discussion was we wanted to make sure that we could still keep our Runestone numbers if we switched to the Voyant phone system, which was the least amount of money, and still provided all the services needed. And our IT vendor has worked with Runestone, and they have found a way on the backside to make our room numbers still work. And we were gonna bring this forward at the January, meeting, the first meeting in January. However, Western Prairie has, approved to move forward with the Voyant phone system, and they can't do it until the county decides what they're going to do. And so I said I would put it on the agenda today to see if we could get a motion, to see if we're going to move that way or not, so they can collectively get Western Prairie, who's very anxious to get going on their transition, started, and then we, will follow.
So you said we could keep our same numbers.
Yes.
Good. Then I'd make the motion to go with that system.
We have a motion, do we get a second?
As a member of the building committee, I'll second it.
Any more discussion?
It should be noted that to keep the runestone number, there is a cost, but that cost is less than what we're still currently paying when included.
No discussion? Ken?
Aye.
Doyle, aye. Dwight?
I,
Bill?
Aye.
Troy?
Aye.
Motion carried.
And the last, I believe it's just an update, and I'll be corrected if I'm wrong. But on the board, when we had talked about ARPA funds in the past, there was just around $100,000 designated to go to Lake Region EMS for an ambulance. And the board had said we wanted to, get that cleaned up and get the money distributed by June 1st. The hard deadline for the ARPA funds is December 31st, 2026. And Lake Region found out that the ambulance they ordered has been delayed. It was going to be here in the spring of 2026. It's now the winter of 2026. So I just wanted to bring that forward to the board because the discussion was to try to finish up that process by June. But because of situations outside of anyone's control with that ambulance being delayed, and we need an invoice to make that transaction with getting them the funds. If the board would be okay if we waited until the end of the year when the ambulance came in to close out that ARPA fund. And I don't know if that needs a motion. It was just board consensus discussion at the last meeting, but we wanted to bring that forward because this would be changing that.
If we do any change, we'll have to have a motion. But other than that, moving forward, it should be discussed.
There was just no motion to say June 1st. We
Correct.
just said, as a budget committee, we talked about trying to clean that up.
Right.
So it's up to you guys how you want to handle it.
So my question becomes winter of 26. That's really, really close to 27. Do we have a hard deadline that says what day do we say, okay, well, it's either going back to just say winter of 26 is pretty vague when that's cutting it really close. I'm not saying we can't wait. I mean, we want to bring Chad into that conversation too, but we need to have a plan, a date that says, hey, at this date, we gotta spend it or it's just going back. So I don't want to be on December 31st, how we're getting an invoice.
Chad, are you on? Could you?
Do you know anything about it, Eric, or?
Well, to me, the invoice will come on delivery. If you want to disperse the funds to Lake Region, you're taking the money to the ambulance anyway, so to us, it doesn't really matter when the deposit to us comes. Just knowing that we won't be able to give you an invoice until the ambulance is delivered, and that's at the end of the year. But if a check happens to be today or in the spring, it's going towards that ambulance service.
Well, they said it will definitely get here in 26 or?
I wouldn't
bank on that.
No, they're so backed up.
Said it was the spring, right off the way.
I agree with Troy, it's a little too close to be waiting right at the end of the year to get that taken care of, because you guys have a timeline.
It's a deadline.
Right, I mean, that's where the money's going. We already purchased basically purchased the ambulance. It's not being built yet. but once it hits production, they'll have a better date of arrival. But you guys can dole it out every time you guys feel the need, so. In, midsummer is fine too, but I'd be pretty cautious if you're gonna do it right at the end of waiting for that invoice. Cause it might not make deadline and it could push out to the 27th.
Yeah.
Can the EMS committee work with Chad and maybe we get an invoice for a down payment on the piece of equipment that now we have that invoice? I mean, let's work with Chad and see what he needs. So we don't wait till the end.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Get an end game there, so then they invoice you 6 months in advance or whatever, right?
Yeah.
We can do that. Right, Mr. EMS committee member?
That'd probably be the safest route.
Yep.
So anything else on that, or are we done with that, or? Okay, board committee updates. All right, Bill, budget and finance.
I guess we'll address it on the 29th at 9 o'clock.
Okay, building committee.
We don't have anything.
We need to schedule a meeting.
Yep. But you got some updates from your emergency manager on just exactly what they've been doing. And it looks like you guys are doing a great job. There's a lot of things that, you'd be surprised once you start opening your eyes up and start walking around. You find out there's a lot of things to do.
EMS committee.
We met yesterday and the group decision that told off an ambulance order their ambulance.
Okay. Personnel committee. Been still working on.
We had, yeah, we had the negotiation update. That's what we've been doing.
Right.
Yeah. Highway committee.
Nothing to add, Mr. Chair.
Public safety, I don't know anything, I guess. Solid waste.
Nothing to add to what Reed didn't bring us.
Strategic planning.
We haven't met since last.
Since the last time.
Yeah.
All right, public health.
Met yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
And everything's going fine. I got nominated for pushed into second chair, right, Doyle?
Yeah, you didn't get pushed in, you raised your hand.
I sure did, but we're okay with that.
Church. Western Prairie. We got to have an hour discussion on the pay period, but that was a highlight, I think. For the,
I think another important update is it'll be official January 1st. Traverse County will be officially part of Western Prairie.
Well, we will be providing services. We're assuming the role of they're delegating their authority to Western Prairie.
Anybody got anything else?
Well, I can touch a little bit on Jordan Rasmussen, or Senator Rasmussen sent a letter, or actually it looked like this card, that was stating that, thank you for attending the local leaders summit on securing state funding for local projects. I appreciate your dedication and service to our communities. I look forward to continued partnership. If I can ever be helpful, please don't hesitate to let me know. And I and our county engineer, Matt Guevara, we drove up there for that. That was at Thumper Pond. And he's just sending out a response.
How's the food?
What's that?
How's the food?
We didn't eat. We ate at actually, they didn't serve food. We ate at the Shoreline Cafe on the way back. So that's what went on there, but there was different buckets of money. And I mean, Deed was there and MinDOT was there and West Central Initiative was there. And I mean, there was many parties there that did, it was a very good presentation. I'm sure it's out there online if somebody wants to research it.
Anybody got anything else? Adjourned 11:45.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Was easy.